Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Asha. I am located in San Francisco, just about a mile, 2 miles now, probably from the San Francisco Institute. And I was saying earlier that I so appreciate all of your dedication if you're on the West Coast for being here at 7:30, and if you're in a different time zone for taking the time out of your day to be in community, to honor yourselves, give yourselves the time for this important practice. I also wanted to take a minute just to honor this incredible day in history. And I was thinking how honored I am to teach today. First Black senator. We have a Black senator, we have a Black vice president, and just the incredibleness of that, and to be inviting our practice into that history for today. And so let's close our eyes, finding a comfortable seated position. That could be cross-legged, it could be sitting on your knees, and if neither of those are comfortable for you, then find something that is. I sit on a cushion because it allows my hips to be a little bit higher, and then my knees can float easily more to the floor. Taking your time, making any adjustments, finding that place of stillness. And as we breathe and take an inventory of how our bodies are doing today, finding that thing inside of ourselves that we want to honor. What for you today might be a historical moment for you personally? What are you celebrating in yourself? It's so easy to get wrapped up in the day-to-day and to forget how the small changes that we make, the small things that we do, are so important, and we must take a minute to honor those things. And so I encourage you to set an intention today to honor that particular piece of yourself, some small or big celebration for you. In integral yoga, we begin the practice with 3 Oms, followed by a chant in Sanskrit responsively. If you'd like to join me, inhaling. And let's remove all the obstacles from today's practice and from today by chanting Hari Om. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari 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 Om. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari 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 Om. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Hari Om. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Hari Om. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari 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 Hari Om. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Hari Om. Hari Hari Om. Hari 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 Om. Allowing the sound vibration to penetrate through the mind, the body, the spirit, the sound that is created for this moment in this time and space with this particular group of people. And carefully opening the eyes, soft gaze in front of you, preparing for Netra Vyayamam, the eye movements, by bringing the eyes to the top of the gaze, removing any glasses or anything else that might be in the way, and then bring the eyes straight down. Allowing the breath to flow freely here, noticing if there's tension in the jaw or the forehead, and then bringing the gaze to center. And then bring the eyes to the right, drawing a straight line to the left, keeping the head still. And again, noticing where there might be tension in other parts of the body. Can the breath be allowed to flow freely? And then centering the gaze and bringing the eyes to the top right-hand corner and then down to the bottom left in a diagonal position here. Noticing what this does, if this is difficult, just setting the intention. Eyes to the right, the top right, down to the bottom left. And centering the gaze. And then bring the eyes to the top left and bottom right. Is this side different than the other side? What are the noticings here? Centering the gaze and closing the eyes. Taking the hands, rubbing them briskly together to create heat. And when there's enough heat there, cupping the eyes with the palms and allowing the prana, the life force from the palms, to seep through the eyes, through to the optic nerve, through to the brain. Giving yourself this full warmth and comfort, especially for those of us that stare at a screen. This is a beautiful practice. And as the heat begins to dissipate, beginning to massage the temples, the jaw, the neck, and any other place that might need some release. I will just say that if you cannot hear me during this practice today, please just give me a symbol, a finger, or a hand behind the ear. It's difficult sometimes to tell when you're all on mute. Returning the hands to the thighs. And then coming into tabletop, hands and knees. So removing any props. And starting with some cat and cow. So exhale, rounding the spine. And inhale, extending. Gorgeous. And going at your own pace, going at the pace of the breath. If the body is feeling particularly lethargic today, perhaps speeding up the breath and moving a little bit faster. And on the other end of that, if there was any freneticism or anxiety, perhaps slowing down the movements. Asking the body, what does it need? Perhaps bringing the hips from one side to the other. Glancing over the opposite shoulder. And then returning to center. Extending the right leg behind you, keeping the toe on the floor. And then lifting the right leg up, keeping the leg level with the hip. Keeping the gaze forward, pressing into the left knee and raise the left arm in front of you. Beautiful. Returning very slowly with control, the hand and then the knee, and extending the left leg behind you. First the toe on the ground, and then as you're ready and feel balanced, lifting the leg up, and then bringing the right arm in front of you. Taking a couple breaths here, playing with the balance, laughing if there's some falling, and then releasing the hand and the knee to the floor. Beautiful. Tucking the toes under, pressing the hands into the floor, and coming into downward facing dog. Noticing here the alignment, making sure that the fingers are spread wide, the gaze is in between the feet or at the navel, and the heels are reaching towards the floor, bending the knees, allowing the back to become a little bit more neutral here, squeezing the elbows in, internal rotation here. Taking one more exhale, and then walking the feet in towards the hands, coming into Uttanasana, forward fold, bending the knees as much as needed, allowing the head to fully hang. Nodding the head yes, nodding the head no, taking hold of opposite elbows. Beautiful. Releasing the hands, lifting halfway, bring the hands just above the knees onto the shins with a flat back. Gorgeous. Inhale, exhale, release all the way down. We'll do that one more time. Inhaling, bring the hands just above or below the knees with a flat back. Inhale, retain the inhale. Exhale with a sigh. Everyone should be awake in your household now. Beautiful. And then hinging forward at the hips, bring the arms alongside the ears, coming all the way up with a neutral spine, allowing the arms to come alongside the ears, slight back bend. Exhale, hands come to heart center, and releasing the hands by the side for mountain pose. Coming to the top of the mat. Feeling here that the base is strong. Lifting all 10 toes, releasing one toe at a time like piano toes, again with the intention. Feeling that the feet are 2 fistfuls or comfortable distance apart. Palms are open to release the shoulders, and the head is floating on top of the neck. As we prepare for Surya Namaskaram, the sun salutation. Exhaling, hands come to heart center. Inhaling, arms come up alongside the ears. Slight back bend in between the shoulder blades. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhaling, step the left leg back into a low lunge. Back knee comes to the floor. Noticing the alignment here. Fingertips are on the floor, lifting them slightly up if the head, to allow the head to stay in alignment with the spine. Taking 2 more breaths, deep breaths. And then exhaling, bring the front foot back into downward facing dog. Noticing this downward facing dog. What's the sensation here? Is it different? Is it the same? And then bringing the gaze in between the hands. Oh, I'm sorry. We're not going to do that. We're going to come into knees, chest, chin. So bring the knees, chest, chin to the floor, leaving the pelvis slightly raised, inhaling, retaining the inhale, coming up into baby cobra, and then exhaling, downward facing dog. Beautiful. Lifting the right leg up behind you, and then releasing it down. Lifting the left leg up behind you. And then bringing the gaze in between the hands and stepping the foot in between the hands. Yeah, however you get there, making sure that you're being safe here. Again, noticing the quality on this side. Is it different than the other? What adjustments need to be made? Perhaps coming back a little bit on the torso, allowing for a little bit more room in that front space. Yes, beautiful. Taking an inhale, exhale. Taking one more inhale and then exhale, the back foot comes forward to meet the front into Uttanasana, forward fold. Stretching the arms up alongside the ears, hinging forward at the hips, coming up all the way. Arms come up alongside. Slight back bend. Exhale. Hands come to heart center. Feeling the heartbeat through the thumbs here, releasing the shoulders down, releasing the hands by the side. Exhale, bring the hands to heart center. Inhale, bring the arms up alongside the ears. Exhale, release the engage the fingertips and release the shoulders down. Beautiful. And then taking an inhale and then exhale, Ardha Chandrasana to the right. So bring the arms alongside the ears and stretching over to the right, keeping that right arm engaged. Taking one more breath. Inhale to center and exhale to the other side. It's common here to allow the inner arm to come down. So bringing the awareness to that left arm, keeping it engaged, noticing the shoulders, releasing those down as the fingertips stay engaged. Taking one more breath. Inhaling to center. Exhaling, forward fold, hinging forward at the hips, coming all the way down. Beautiful. Inhale, right leg comes back. Option to keep the back knee lifted, or it can come to the floor. Looking straight forward. If you would like, you can lift the fingertips up, interlace the fingers, and bring them onto the thigh. You could bring them all the way up alongside the ears, knowing that there is no wrong here, just as long as your body is safe, and finding your edge for this morning, whatever that looks like for you. Taking one more breath, and then exhaling, releasing the hands down by the front foot, stepping back into downward facing dog. Inhale, taking an exhale, and then bringing the shoulders over the wrist as we exhale into plank. Knees can come down if this is too much pressure. Here, experiment. Heels are pressing back as the head comes forward here. Either lowering all the way down into chaturanga or knees, chest, chin to the floor, coming up into either baby cobra or upward facing dog, and I'll meet you in downward facing dog. Taking your time. And then coming into downward facing dog, pedaling the feet. Lifting the left leg up behind you. And then bringing the knee in towards the chest. And then bringing it straight up behind you and bringing the knee in. And bringing it up and then releasing it down to the floor. And then taking the right leg, lifting it up behind you, bringing the knee in towards the chest. And do that 3 times. And then step the foot forward in between the hands. And again, however you get there, making sure that the body is safe. Back leg, knee can stay lifted or it can be on the floor. Maybe this side is different. And choosing the hand position that's appropriate for you here. And wherever you are, noticing stability in the lower body and some lightness in the upper body. Can you relax the jaw? Can you smile? Can you have some serious play here? And then releasing the hands by the front foot and stepping the back foot forward, Uttanasana. Bending the knees here, allowing the torso to rest on the thighs. Bring the arms alongside the ears as we come up into chair pose. Pressing the heels into the floor, energetically squeezing the thighs together so that the knees don't knock. Taking one more breath, exhale forward. Inhale, coming up any way that the body is asking. Arms come up alongside the ears. And exhale. Hands come to heart center. We'll come into one more round, introducing Akasha Bhujangasana, flying cobra. So I'll explain what that is as we get there. So inhaling, arms come up alongside the ears. Exhaling, hands come down into Uttanasana. Stepping the left leg back, leg can stay lifted or come to the floor. Bring the hands to heart center here. And let's do a twist to the right, hooking the elbow on to the opposite knee. If possible, the upper arm might open here. We're just experimenting with this. Bring the hands to heart center. Coming back to center. And releasing the hands to the floor. Stepping back into downward facing dog. Releasing the knees towards the heels here. And then bringing the body forward, thrusting it forward through the hands. And then either coming up into upward facing dog or cobra. And then releasing back into downward facing dog. Beautiful. Bring the gaze in between the hands and stepping the left foot through. Hands come to heart center, giving yourself time to adjust, to get to the pose. And doing a twist over the opposite knee. Yes. The gaze could be down, it could be towards the opposite wall, or it can be up. You might experiment with opening the hands. Noticing the breath, noticing where the sensations are as we return the hands to heart center. Coming back to center, framing the front foot. Releasing the hands down, stepping forward, Uttanasana. And then again, torso comes to rest on the thighs. Arms come out as we come into Utkatasana, chair pose, pressing back into the heels here. Look down at the knees. Are they coming together? And if so, push back into the heels a little bit more and squeeze the thigh. Exhale, inhale, come all the way up to the tippy toes. Beautiful. Exhale, release the heels to the floor at the same time that the hands lower to heart center. Lower the hands, shake out the hands, shake out the feet. Allow the hands to swing from side to side into airplane. Perhaps introducing some horse whispers. letting it all go. And then releasing the hands, allowing the momentum to slow as the hands come down. Coming into tree pose. So we'll come into a balancing pose and I'll lead you through this, coming either off the mat to the top of the mat. If you would like to use a wall for balance, you may do that too. And beginning to shift the weight into the right foot. And notice here how it feels to lift the left toe up, the left foot up. And then bringing the foot to the ankle, to the shin, or all the way up past the knee joint. Noticing the stabilizing foot and where the pressure is here. Bringing the awareness into the big toe, pressing the foot into the thigh and the thigh back into the foot. It's okay to fall. Using the breath to stabilize as opposed to any force. And then taking that foot slowly with control, lowering it down. Shaking out the feet. And let's see what the other side is like this morning. Shifting the weight into the left foot. And by the way, the foot can come to the ankle. It does not have to come all the way up. So it can just come to right here as well. So choose the foot position that feels the most interesting to you this morning, then the safest. Pressing the left big toe into the floor. Using the breath to stabilize. Perhaps bring the arms alongside the ears if you feel stable here. And then releasing the hands, releasing the foot, shaking out the feet. This is a good pose to do multiple times a day, just to see how the balance shifts during the day. Coming to lying on the mat into corpse pose or shavasana. And allowing the body to absorb all the standing poses. And as a reminder, using my indications as suggestions, modifying as you need to for yourself. And knowing that is what is true for you this morning may not be true for you in an hour or this evening. And even in these standing poses, is there something that you can honor in yourself? As we turn over onto Advasana, onto the abdomen, preparing for the back bending poses. Bring the palms just a little bit in front of the shoulders. The feet are hip distance apart or a little bit more if there's any lower back pain. And then slowly lifting the head, neck, and chest for cobra. Lifting the palms off the floor, if that's possible. And you could, if the arms are lifted, you could bring the arms out, shoulder height. You could interlace them behind the back. And then slowly releasing the arms, the palms to the floor, releasing the head, the neck, and the chest, releasing the arms by the side, bringing the cheek to one side. And I say so the other one doesn't get jealous, turn the cheek to the other. Coming into Salabhasana, so shifting the body from side to side, tucking the elbows in, bring the palms underneath the body. Bringing the legs together, shifting the chin onto the floor. I will direct Salabhasana. If you prefer one leg at a time, I will let you know when it's been about halfway to switch. Inhaling, extending the legs, and exhaling, lifting the legs up. It has been just about halfway. And then exhaling, releasing to the floor. Releasing the arms to the side, releasing one cheek to the floor, and then the other. So coming into Dhanurasana or boat pose. This is a pose that can be challenging for the ego. So going slowly and noticing what you can handle this morning, bending the knees, taking hold of one foot and then the other. And then pressing the feet into the hands and allowing that momentum to lift the lower half of the body and then the upper half. So bend the knees. Yes, that's it. Beautiful. Making sure that the knees aren't splaying out. You could rock back and forth onto the abdomen. You could practice one leg at a time. And then slowly releasing the feet, the legs to the floor. See how slowly you can make this movement. And then releasing one cheek to the floor. Pressing the palms into the floor, coming into tabletop. And coming into cat and cow. So exhale, rounding the spine. And inhale, extending. Neutralizing the spine. Always after we do intense back bend or forward bend, doing something first before doing anything else extreme. And then coming to sit in hero's pose. So coming to sit on the heels. And this morning, we're going to come into an inversion practice. I'm going to teach the very beginning parts of headstand, starting with dolphin. If you have any head or neck injuries, or you would prefer not to do dolphin, you could bring your legs up the wall, or you could come into shoulder stand, or another inversion of your choice. If you would like to go along this journey with me, begin by tucking in your shirt first, and I'm going to demonstrate first. So I'm going to demonstrate and then I'm going to talk you through it. So we're going to begin by taking the fingertips on the edge of the elbows. And then I'm going to take the elbows and place them on the mat. I'm going to then release my hands, leaving my elbow in place, clasping the fingers together, and bringing my head to the floor. Then I'm going to curl my toes under and lift my knees up. And then I'm going to lift my head
and bring it over my chin, over my hands, and then back. If you'd like to experiment a little bit more, you could walk the feet in, and then when you feel like the knees can lift, come into a tuck position.
So I'm going to walk you through that. So come to sit on your heels, bringing the fingertips on the edge of the elbows, and then releasing the elbows to the floor, releasing the hands, clasping them together, and bring the top of the head to the floor. Tucking the toes, straightening the knees, lifting the head up, and bringing it over the hands. Beautiful. That's it. Continuing to press the forearms to the floor so you can feel the biceps engage. You could continue to do this if you'd like to experiment with the beginning stages of headstand, bringing the head to the floor, walking the feet in, and perhaps just lifting one foot up and tucking one knee in, going very slowly here. Alicia, stay there. That's beautiful. That looks great. That's great, Sue. Taking another minute or so to explore wherever you are here. And then releasing the knees down. If you're on your head, slowly coming down. Releasing into child's pose. Perhaps putting your head on the floor and just rocking it from side to side to release the neck. And then we'll have everybody come into a version of shoulder stand, either bringing the legs up the wall or placing a block underneath the sacrum. Or coming into the full pose. Bring the feet onto the floor, lying on the back, and then swinging the legs up overhead. Taking a minute to adjust. Finding stillness in whatever pose you're in. And staying for just a minute. And then releasing the hands to the floor. And slowly releasing the hips. And either bending the knees or keeping them straight, lowering the feet to the floor, the legs to the floor. Nodding the head from side to side. Hugging the knees into the chest. Releasing the lower back. And then coming into a counter pose. So you could come into Matsyasana, fish pose. or Supta Vajrasana, which is coming onto the feet, kneeling, arching the back, and coming back. So lying on the back for Matsyasana, tucking the fingertips underneath the hips, bring the legs straight, lifting the chin towards the chest, arching the back, and bringing the crown of the head to the floor. Taking some deep breaths here helps to strengthen our posture, allows for deep, full breaths. And for me, it releases a lot of stress, headache, and neck ache. Releasing the chin towards the chest and coming all the way down into Shavasana. Bring the feet to the floor and windshield wiping the feet, the knees from one side to the other. Gorgeous. We'll do a lying twist. So bringing the feet to the floor, bending the knees, lifting the knees up and shifting the hips towards the right, and then bringing the knees towards the left. Arms come out to a T position, and then looking over the opposite shoulder. Looking over towards the right. Oh no, towards the left. And then bringing the knees to center, releasing the feet to the floor, perhaps circling the ankles. And then bending the knees, lifting the feet off the floor, and shifting the hips towards the left and dropping them towards the right. Bringing the knees to center, releasing the feet to the floor, coming into Yoga Mudra, lying on the floor. So bringing the feet together, the bottoms of the feet together, bending the knees. One hand comes to the heart, one hand comes to the solar plexus or to the belly as we seal in today's practice. Closing the eyes. And then preparing for Yoga Nidra, the yogic sleep, the process of tensing and releasing the muscles of the body, and then observing the body, the mind, so that the body can be relaxed while the mind stays alert, and we can perhaps experience few moments of bliss, that place between wake and sleep. You may want to turn out the lights, get something for underneath your legs. And practicing Sigra Shavasana, the quick tensing and releasing. Pointing the toes, making fists with the hands. Inhaling, lifting the legs up. Bring the knees in towards the chest, bringing all the bodies in towards the middle, scrunching the muscles of the face in towards the nose. Inhale and exhale, release. Splaying out the fingers, opening the mouth, opening the eyes wide, straightening the legs, lifting everything off the floor, inhaling and exhaling, release. Doing any other small movements here that will allow the body to stay completely still for the next few moments. And bringing the awareness to each body part, allowing for some more love and relaxation. Starting with the bottoms of the feet, the toes, the ankles, the tops of the feet, the shins, the calves, the knees, the backs of the knees, releasing the muscles of the thighs, the quadriceps, the hips, releasing the buttocks into the floor, the pelvis, the lower back, the chest, the mid-back, releasing the shoulders, releasing the fingers, the hands, the lower arms, the elbows, the upper arms, the shoulders, the neck, and the head. Being a witness to this relaxed body. And as the body relaxes, so does the breath. Perhaps the breath becomes more shallow. Perhaps there's space between the exhale and the inhale. Noticing the rise and fall of the belly. And then bringing the awareness to the mind. Noticing the thoughts like clouds in the sky. Not attaching to a single one. And then gradually the clouds begin to disappear so that there's nothing but blue sky, nothing but emptiness. And in this emptiness, the true self emerges. That place that is unchanging. that place that is always honoring. And allowing yourself a few moments to rest in this place of the true self in silence. Bringing the awareness back to the breath. To the body. Wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes. Stretching the arms in one direction and the legs in the other. Rolling over onto one side. Coming into a fetal position. And then pressing up into a seated position. Preparing for pranayama, the breath practices. And as a reminder, these practices are done generally seated, making sure that there is a comfortable seated position, allowing for a neutral spine, perhaps sitting on something. Generally, these are done through the nose. And as always, if anything becomes uncomfortable or dizzy, please return to the normal breath. So beginning with Dirghasvasana, that deep 3-part breath, you may want to place a hand on the belly and on the chest so that you can feel where the breath is going. So imagining first inhaling through the belly, the chest, and then the heart. And exhaling through the heart, the chest, and then the belly. calming the nervous system, allowing the relaxation response to be stimulated here, and the basis of our pranayama practices, the breath practices. Returning the hands to the thighs, and perhaps returning to normal breath. We'll come into Nadi Sudhi, which is alternate nostril breathing. So you want to make the rocker sign with your fingers. If you already have this practice, you may start it now, or if you'd like some instruction, that's what I'll do now. So taking an inhale, block off the right nostril and exhale through the left. Inhale through the left nostril, block it off the left nostril with the pinky, and exhale through the right. Inhale through the right, block it off with the thumb, and exhale through the left. Allowing the breath to be soft and smooth here. Perhaps making the exhale twice as long as the inhale. Maybe starting with an inhale of 4 and an exhale of 8. And after the next exhale through the right nostril, taking your time, releasing the hand to the thigh, and preparing for a brief meditation. You could focus on a phrase such as Om Shanti, which means peace, a word you like to cultivate in your life, following the breath, or any personal practice you bring with you today. I'll bring us in and out with an Om. Om. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. And that means may the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light. Jai Shri Satguru Maharaj Ki. May the light of truth overcome all darkness. Jai, victory to that light. Namaste. The light in me recognizes the light in you. Thank you for sharing your practice. Please find the small or large things to honor yourselves as we grow through this day.